It's in you. You possess the power. Just go hard. I need some motivation. Every day I try a little harder, but my dedication. Keep my head way, way above the water. Crowding myself when I yell at the wall. Begging to run, but I needed to crawl. I see the finish line up ahead, trying to get traction from all of this tread. I am a king, I am a queen. I am more than the people can see. I am strong when I'm needing to be. Vulnerability's nothing to me. You can try, but I'm unshakable. My successes is never debatable. I'm chameleon, I'm so interchangeable. Here's to you and all that you are capable.
You gotta go hard, better get it. You gotta go hard, better get it. You better go hard, better get it. Better get it. You gotta go hard, better get it. You gotta go hard, better get it. You gotta go hard, better get it. Better get it. You gotta go hard, better get it. You gotta go hard, better get it. You better go hard, better get it. Better get it. You gotta go hard, better get it. You gotta go hard, better get it. You gotta go hard, better get it. Better get it.
He conquers who conquers himself. Jorge Hernandez. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. Welcome back to another episode of Be the Leader. Guys, this is the show that helps you guys step up and be the leader that you need, that you always wanted. It's the show that helps you take yourself to victory, but not just you, your entire team. In order to lead others, you do have to lead yourself. And if you guys are new to the show, all that I ask is that if you find value in it, if you laugh, if you learn, if you walk away inspired, just share it with somebody. We basically do our best to not put we haven't put any ads on the show, but in order to really spread it out there and get the message out, get the show going and not just going, but to spread it and help others, we just ask to get your support. So in every single one of these episodes that we put together, I try to make them not just I don't like people that just talk in platitudes, Like platitudes are just saying words and isms. Like I like to get real stories, real strategies, real tactics that can actually help people. And I'm excited today because obviously this is a special episode because I have a former Ranger here that I served with. And you guys, normally I have my wife in as the co-host, but for today I have a great guest that's going to help you guys out a ton. So before we lead into this, I read a statistic that said that the average divorce rate in the United States was something like this stat was, it might have seemed a little off to me. It said 3%. I thought it was a little bit higher, but I'm going to look it up right now. Divorce rate, United States. Let's look this up right now. This says divorce rates in the United States are now 6.1%. Fuck, this is crazy because I believe the military divorce rates are a lot higher. I could think out of every 10 people, there's probably 5 of those people that were getting divorced. So I'm not going to dive into the statistics here but the subject I want to talk to you guys a lot about today, we're going to talk about mindset. We're going to talk a lot about struggle, but specifically this is going to be a great show for anybody that's going through some marital issues. Okay, for any of you guys that are going through a relationship, a breakup, divorce, and you're going through some sort of separation where, dude, you feel like absolute shit. Okay, and not only that, but you're a high performer. You're a high achiever. There's nothing worse in life than being that person that can knock goals down and do them, but then feel absolutely empty on the inside because you're losing shit that you said was important to you. It rips you apart, rips your identity apart. So today's guest is a former Army Ranger, somebody that I served with in the 75th Ranger Regiment, and I'm excited to bring him in, unpack his story, and pull out strategies for you guys to help you with your life, to help you with your fitness, to help you with your mindset, and help you get out of that dark spot that you may or may not be in. So without further ado, Jorge Hernandez. What's up, man?
Jeremiah, thank you.
Hell yeah, bro.
Appreciate it.
Hey, so I didn't hit your bio on the intro, but let's dive into it. So obviously, former 75th Army Ranger. You spent time at USASOC, United States Special Operations Command. You worked there. Now you do Border Patrol. You're a Border Patrol agent.
Yes. As
well, and you're launching your own performance company for fitness, mindset, and stuff like that. Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. So what? Give the listeners the 30,000 foot overview of your military experience. Like, what are some of the things that you did so they have some understanding?
Yeah. So served in the 75th Ranger Regiment. I was a communicator, radio operator, RTO, the commander in the RTO.
Yeah.
Here we are.
Yeah.
Yeah. So my military experience there was just absolutely amazing. I loved every minute of it.
When did you sign up? When did you enlist?
So here's the thing. The first thing that when I first signed up was for an Army ROTC scholarship.
Oh, no shit.
Yeah, back in 2010. And then got out of that. Then I joined the Air Force.
Oh, shit. Yeah,
Then I
that's
was-
right. You told me that.
Then I was in the Air Force. That was in 2011. Got out in 2012. That's when Obama signed the Downsizing Act. I was in the TAC-P, right?
Yep.
Doing that course.
Yeah,
And
tactical. What is it? I don't remember what it stands for anymore.
Tactical Air Control Party.
Yeah, basically dropping bombs on Baghdad's
Yeah,
bad guys in the Air
Yeah,
Force.
they could essentially get that JTAC qualifier
Yeah.
to it. I mean, we had some TAC-P, JTAC qualified guys with us in the 75th attached to us.
Yeah.
So that's initially what I was going for. Didn't make it through the selection at that time. And like I said, President Obama at the time signed the Downsizing Act, and it was just easy for the Air Force to give me my DD-214
Yeah.
because I didn't have a job. So got out of that and immediately went back in to try to get back into the military. And 2 years later is when I got my opportunity to go back into the Army. Went back into the Army, and then I got my RAS
That was
contract.
14? That was 2014?
Yeah,
Okay.
2014. And yeah.
Option 40?
No, I didn't get that. I got my contract at AIT.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so I was fortunately to get afforded a contract there.
What made you want to be a Ranger?
I just always had that drive to be the best.
Yeah.
Like I always wanted to put myself out there and see what I was capable of doing. It's just
Where'd you learn about Rangers?
so initially I thought it was just Ranger school,
Yeah.
like Army Rangers. That's what it was. I never knew anything about the 75th Ranger Regiment.
Yeah.
It wasn't until I was there at AIT. I saw the tan beret, and that's when I got the exposure to the 75th Ranger Regiment.
So you like seeing a tan beret was the thing that made your little spidey senses go off. You're like, what is that?
Yeah.
That looks different.
Yeah, for
Yeah.
sure.
Oh yeah. Well, you guys, not everybody on the show has military background. So, I was very much the same. I didn't know shit about the military when I came in. I didn't even really know what special operations was. I just the military was a stepping stone for me to get out of a bad situation. But then once you start getting exposed to higher levels, it draws a certain type of person. It draws you forward. It's like the Warriors call. So for you, the Warriors call was like you saw this tan beret in training. You're like, fuck, I got to do that. Yeah.
Yeah. and honestly, here's the funny thing. I didn't. One of the main drivers for me was regular Army PT.
Regular Army physical training, guys.
Yeah, I didn't want to do that.
Hey, fuck it, dude. It's like sometimes it's not about just chasing and being inspired. It's about getting away from the shit that you hate.
Yeah.
It
did not sit well with me. I mean, it is a great program in its own way, right?
Yeah.
But I was like, I don't want to be doing that every morning. Like,
Well, the regular Army physical fitness guys, sometimes it's like going to the DMV. It's just like it's horrible sometimes. I mean, I was in some teams, don't get me wrong, I was in some teams that like in the regular Army where it was legit. We had a lot, we worked hard and it was organized, but then there's sometimes it's like you go and do it and it's just like it's everything but PT, But okay, everybody that's tuning in right now, they're probably wondering like, hey, I want to make sure this is going to be worth my time. I'm going to listen to this episode. They know it's going to be good. And but I like to give the bottom line up front, and in order to do that, what people really connect with out there is challenges and struggles. I'm going to get into your accolades, I'm get into your achievements and kind of your journey and everything and help this person that's listening today build themselves up. But why don't you share what was one, I'm going to ask a random question. What was two of the toughest things that you've ever been through?
well, right off the bat is going to be my divorce.
Okay.
That was one of the toughest things that I went through mentally and physically and spiritually. And then I would say the second one would be just overcoming myself.
Yeah. Believing in yourself a bit.
Believing in myself. And despite what everyone is saying around you, no matter what, you're going to do what you say you're going to do.
Yeah. What was hard about the divorce? I mean, you don't have to go into the specifics of the details, but like, what was it? You know, because people go through divorces, right? And a lot of times, what I found is they rips apart their identity. I mean, I understand that a lot, you know. So, what was it for you? What was it for you that made the divorce so challenging and that really beat you up?
Yeah, so you hit it right on the spot. My identity. I felt like I was stripped away of who I was, not only in my job, but, you know, as a husband. I felt that it was my responsibility. And I was so focused on other things that I didn't pay attention to the signs.
Like achievement.
Yeah.
You're focused on achieving.
I wanted the goals. I wanted to do go to USASOC. I wanted to do, be the best. But it was my responsibility to also be the best husband.
Fuck, that's good, bro. Because I think every high achiever can relate to that. A high achiever gets so damn tunnel vision on where they're trying to go that they put blinders on. And that sounds like it's exactly what happened to you. It's just, I'm just going after accolade. But in your mind, you're thinking, I'm going down this path not just for myself but for my family, you know. But a lot of people leave their families behind on that pursuit. A high achiever can absolutely outpace their significant other. A high achiever can absolutely outpace their family, and they will, you know. And it sounds like that's like what happened, huh?
Yeah, and I think, when it comes to high performance and high achievement, right, you're gonna have that sacrifice.
Yeah.
It's just that, what are you gonna sacrifice, and how much are you willing to sacrifice?
Dude, there's this. You reminded me of this story of this guy I knew. I met this guy, entrepreneur, and he was like that, high achiever type. And he got a job for a startup. It was his opportunity to really shine, and he was living on the East Coast, but he had to move to the West Coast to really grow the company the way he wanted to. And he was tunnel vision, man, locked in. Nothing else mattered to him, because he knew if he got this company going, that not only would he be taken care of, but his family would be taken care of. And really what he was doing, though, when I talked to him, he told me he was really trying to fill the personal void. He wanted personally to achieve at a very high level, and that's really what it was about. And he basically prioritized the startup over his family. He made his family uproot everything in their life and moved to the West Coast for this startup. He wasn't, and I mean, this guy was working like crazy hours, right? He's doing the 20-hour a day, your 16 to 20-hour days every single day. Well, anyways, long story short, is a very, very similar, where he just starts outpacing his family towards this one goal. And the company this went on for years. I mean, 4, 5, 6 years of him trying to build this thing. And he completely left his family in the dust, and his wife was unhappy about him going out there. The kids were unhappy about it, and she tried to tell him. She tried to tell him that there was problems and that she wasn't on board, and that and the long story short is that this company that this guy prioritized, his wife ended up divorcing him in his pursuit. The kids went back to the home state, and he was left at this job, slaving away, working, and about 6 months to a year later, after his wife divorced him, the business went bankrupt. Mm-hmm. So then he was in California, and everything turned upside down on his head, and he was like, this is like a decade of him putting himself into this, and he was alone. Fuck, dude. And that I think is every man's nightmare, in that they work so hard for something that they're maybe not their nightmare, but like it's every high achiever's poison, dude. Like that's what comes along with the territory a lot of the times. You don't really figure out until it's too late, you know? So that was hard for you. I mean, what did you learn going through? Because I'm thinking about this high achiever, you know? And I mean, they're going through and they're trying to avoid the pitfalls. And what did you learn about going after a goal and not paying attention to your blind spots, you know?
So as men, right, we're leaders.
Yeah.
We should be leaders of our families, right? Of our spouses, of our kids. that should be priority, right?
Yeah.
What I learned is, so you're familiar with the Adam and Eve, correct?
Yeah.
So the story in the garden, the fall of man when Eve was tricked, right?
I mean, you could tell it.
Yeah. So the serpent came and talked to Eve, and basically said, "Here, eat from the tree of life," right? When God knew what was happening, He knew what already happened. He calls out to Adam first, because it was Adam's responsibility to take care of his wife. So I had a lot of reflection upon that, and it's helped me grow as a man. And it's a reminder to myself that it's my responsibility.
Fucking deep shit right there.
And I got it tattooed on me here.
Yeah.
It's just a reminder, right?
That's powerful, man. We went right into. Well, actually, I want to hit on this because I don't want to shift to this next thing. So I guess, what does it mean to you to be, provider, protector, to be a good husband? What does it mean?
First and foremost, personal development.
Okay.
You have to continuously, educate yourself, have that open communication, right? Being able to grow not only in your career, but to grow as a husband. And it starts with personal development.
Yeah.
Your fitness, your mindset, your nutrition, what you watch, what you eat, who you hang out with. Yeah. All those things play a factor.
Yeah. So basically, you're saying too that when you say your responsibility as a man is to the way you provide and protect is by doing personal development. That means that you choose a path where you're constantly bettering yourself in every aspect of life.
Absolutely.
And if you're not growing as a husband, you're not really growing. And so that means that you're leaving that area of your life small while the other areas of your life are getting big. That's solid, bro. Everybody needs to hear that message. Okay. I'm going to come back. I want to come back to the struggle and the challenges. We did jump right into some difficult shit right out the gate.
Yeah.
But I want to make sure too that the guys here, everybody knows your story and your journey. So, after 2012, 2014, you make that jump from Air Force over to Army, you become a Ranger, get into comms, and talk to me about the rest of the journey because last time I saw you was 2016, 17. So
yeah, and then we linked up on that deployment.
Mm-hmm.
When I was,
shit.
Yeah, when I was the company commo chief.
Yep.
And your unit was our QRF.
Yeah, I was across the street from you guys. That was crazy.
We needed some crypto.
Yeah, that was crazy.
Yeah.
So, bridge the gap. What happened with you between 2014 and today?
Yeah. So, basically, continuously moving up in the ranks there in Ranger Regiment. I got up to E5 there. Mm-hmm. And I decided that, what was the next best thing for me to do? Unfortunately, I did not get to go to Ranger School. Didn't get to do that. However, I was still looking to see, what could I do next? So decided to give USASOC selection a try. And I went, and, surprisingly, I got selected.
What was that like? So USASOC, guys, is United States Special Operations Command. It's the Special Operations higher headquarters to all the Special Operations units underneath. So, think like Green Berets and Rangers. They all have a company they have to report to, and they fall underneath. And USASOC is that higher headquarters. So you applied to work over there at USASOC, which is the umbrella corporation of Special Operations. What was that selection like?
So I went for job specific, right? I didn't go to the big selection. I went for my job specific. I mean, It was, I guess, from what I can say is that it was more job related, more personality based, whether or not you were the right fit. didn't matter if you were the best. What matters is were you the right fit? Were you coachable?
Yeah. Yeah. And guys, like this is an area that we got to like, I mean, it's a compartmentalized selection that he went to. So in other words, like there's, parts of special operations that you try not to, legally you're not supposed to go into, but then also when you're an operator or you're a former operator, you also like have this responsibility to not overshare shit as you come out of service. Guys really do try to protect that. And so, what George is saying is he went to a special operations selection that was a compartmentalized selection. You went in, you're not really supposed to talk about it after you come out, yeah?
Yeah.
And but it's about, probably about a month, because most selections are about a month to start, and then there's a pipeline after that.
Yeah.
Okay. So he went for a job specifically related to comms?
To comms, yeah.
Okay. And would you mind sharing a little bit about this special operations selection and what was hard about it for you?
I would say that the hardest part for me was not doubting myself.
Okay.
I knew my job. I knew what I was capable of, but I had that doubt still that I wasn't good enough.
Okay.
But, ultimately, I was able to overcome that and still give, my best performance so that way I was able to be selected.
Oh yeah. What percentage of people do you think, I mean, I don't know if you can actually go into that or not, but what percentage of people make it through this type of thing?
So I'm not too sure
on
the actual percentage of it. I mean, I think when I went through, you don't even know who's
yeah.
who, right?
Yeah. Everybody's not wearing like name tapes and unit patches or rank or any of that stuff. They're just there.
Yeah. I think, at the end of it, there was 3 of us that went to an interview. But, there was definitely more that started.
Yeah, for sure. Just trying to give them some context without, like, prying too much, and diving into stuff like that. But so the doubt that you went through, if you guys are going through that, every high achiever, you go through doubts. You go through discouragement. And, what anything personally, like, how did you overcome the doubts? Like, what are some things that kept you moving forward in the face of those doubts,
I just didn't quit.
Okay.
I just kept, no matter what, whether if it was a time hack or what if it was a question asked, I went with my answer and I gave, my best performance.
Yeah.
There's times where there's some things where I was like, I know how to do this, but my body is just not functioning right now.
Yeah. What was that like moment? What happened there?
I guess I could visit an example. I needed to make a cable.
Okay.
And I could not get my fingers to.
It was just too cold?
Work. No, I was just so taxed.
Oh,
like my body
physically
was just,
taxed.
Yeah, physically taxed. And I was like, I know how to make this damn cable. And my just motor control was just not there.
Yeah.
And part of it, was being physically taxed, but it's also that anxiety, that performance anxiety.
100%, dude. Like fighting in a cage, done that a couple of times, and it's like you literally, the adrenaline takes the strength out of your hands sometimes, like at a certain point, And not only that, but when you're keyed up, your motor skills do diminish. Like they might be good for a little while, but if you sustain that adrenaline, that aggression, eventually you just fatigue out and you can't fucking move at all. Okay, cool. So, and this is the thing, guys, with you guys that are dealing with doubt, I always tell people, don't deselect yourself. Like let the selection, let life pull you off of the goal, but don't take yourself off of it. Like, why don't you, instead of assuming what your limits are and quitting, why don't you just go discover them? Like, that's been a big thing that helped me over the years, is I'm not going to assume my limitations. I'm going to discover them. And I like that a lot for people, and I tell people this before they go to any big thing that they're going after in their life, whether it's a military selection or maybe something in their business and their whatever it is, or a competition, and they've stacked up a bunch of pressure on the outcome. I like to remind people, like, dude, you're not the result. You're the effort. Who you are as a person is the effort that you put in, not the outcome that you get. So if you're trying to figure out like how to show up as your best or get the best outcome, just be your best every day leading up into the thing, Yeah,
and I think that's where people fall short a lot, is that they're not willing to try.
Yeah.
and they're just not willing to give themselves a shot. I guess you would say they're afraid of being, denied.
Yeah.
But that's
Fear of failure.
yeah, fear of failure, right? But there's growth from that.
Yeah. Yeah. Stupid. Failure and success the same
Yeah.
way, man. So you obviously adjusted and failed a lot. I failed a ton.
Oh, absolutely.
And so you go to this selection, and what happens next with you?
So, I ended up moving over there. That was part of the reason, I started having the marital issues, right? My wife didn't, at the time, that she didn't want to leave, uproot
She didn't want to
her.
move?
Yeah, she didn't want to move.
Oh, okay.
Well, we ended up moving over there, and, that's when we started to have those issues. And this is, I guess this is where we start talking about that failure.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, no, do your thing.
So,
You're going to help a lot of people with this, man.
yeah. So, ultimately, I didn't live up to my potential there.
Okay.
I started having those marital issues, and they started interfering with my performance, my physical performance on the job. Now, mind you, I still had to complete a pipeline. I still had to go and perform every single day because that's what it was expected of me. But I was dealing with certain things at home that I could see, feel, and sense. But I was trying to balance everything, and I could not find that balance, which led me to ultimately, losing a position there.
So in other words, you had home life challenges going on, marital issues going on.
Yeah.
Those are taking your attention. Those are distracting you. You're focused heavily on fixing the home life. Meanwhile, now your tunnel vision is on the house, and now you're coming up short at work. Is that am I understanding it right?
Yeah, like I said, I couldn't find that balance, and there was a lot of things, that keeping me up at night, and I was just so stressed out, and I didn't know where to fully focus on.
So what happened when you were going to work? Like, what was that like?
So some things that I noticed as I did my reflection on it was like I was just there, like I wasn't really trying to put my full effort.
Just
there.
clocking in mentality.
Clocking in, and you know what, like this will all buff out. That it'll buff mentality. And it started to get noticeable with the team, and I never spoke up, so that's where I failed as well there, because I didn't want to speak about it. Hey, this is what I got going on. This is what I'm dealing with. And by the time it came, it was already, too late. But, as I reflect on it, everything happens for a reason, right? And I've had a lot of growth as a man and as a leader. I take, all the good things that I learned there, and I apply them to my life today.
Yeah. So and this is important for people to understand. Like, so you go to this military special operations selection. Now you're in like a new dream job. Yeah. I mean, the Rangers were a dream job for you as well. So we do the Rangers, and then we go to a special operations selection, and then we're in this new team, this new unit, right? So it's a new high that you're like excited about.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, while you're achieving, going after these accolades, marital issues are happening. Life's kind of falling the fuck apart. You're compartmentalizing heavily. You're like ignoring the problems and just trying to move through them. And then your performance drops at work. You're performing shitty. And people are trying to figure out what's going on with you, but you don't speak up. And you basically are burying all the pain and the problems that are going on in your life. Yeah?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. And so what happened? Like you ended up leaving the team? Like you got...
Yeah.
Go ahead.
So basically what happened after that was, I got an opportunity to come back at a later date. After that was all said and done, I decided to focus on my relationship, provide some options, to better the marriage, right? And that's when I decided that it was best for me to leave the special operations community, and ultimately, get out of the military. And that's whenever I applied to become a Border Patrol agent.
Yeah, guys, I'll tell you this, man. you know, achieving can feel really good, but like whatever you're achieving for, like you got to remember who it's for. You know, like if you lose sight of that, you'll try to like, you'll help build the military, you'll help build your unit, you'll help build your team, but like the military and your team is not going to be there for you when you're on your rocking chair and when you're 80 years old, you know? And you know, the other thing is that I always like to remind people that a happy fighter is a dangerous fighter. You know, and when you're going to work, if you're a high performer, high achiever type, and you're going to work and you're not happy, you're miserable, you got shit in the back of your mind, like you're a liability at work, man. Like you're a liability to the team, you're a liability to yourself. We didn't ever, when I was a commander, we like, or even infantry officer, we always checked on the guys to make sure that they weren't going to be liabilities overseas. We didn't want people going over there with all these type of marital issues and personal problems. Like we did the best that we could to equip them with life before we headed over to war. And you guys in your businesses and you guys in your careers, if you're not complete outside of the job that you're in, you are a liability with where you're at. And I think that, you know, George's story here is really powerful because it's reminding every single one of you guys to take a look at your damn life holistically, you know, and you can't, like, just like you can't out-train a bad diet, you're not going to out-achieve a shitty life. Like, you know what I mean? Like you're not gonna, yeah. I mean, it's like the truth. You're not just gonna achieve your way to a better life. You actually have to bring your life up with you.
Yeah.
Agree with that?
Yeah. You gotta put in the work.
Yeah. And like, so you basically just chose to get out of the military. You joined the border patrol.
Yeah. Ultimately, you know, my wife we did get a divorce. So you know, I left the military. You know, not really wanting to leave the military, essentially. But I was already committed, you know, accepted the job offer. And so I moved back to Texas. You know, I'm originally from Texas. So I accepted the job position there in the Rio Grande Valley sector. Moved out of that. It was honestly a smooth transition. You know, I was on terminal leave while I was at the Border Patrol Academy. So it wasn't really, I didn't have any issues finance-wise. And then, you know, the Border Patrol Academy is another story in itself.
What was that transition like, though? What was hard about the transition? Because a lot of guys are going to go from the military career into another job. Like, what were the difficulties of the transition for you?
So, I would say the difficulties is the shift in identity, right? We talked about identity, right?
Yeah.
In the beginning, you're going to have to change your identity. You know, coming from that high pace, high speed, high achiever, you know, lifestyle within the special operations community, it's not so much out there, you know, in the civilian world, even in the federal law enforcement world. So it's just being able to learn to adapt to your new environment.
Yeah.
Because, you know, we had talked about it earlier this morning when we were working out, those standards and that accountability, you know, either goes out the window or they're very low.
100%. Yeah, and a lot of what holds people back in life is not who they think they are, but it's who they think they're not. You know, when they want to make a jump from one career to the next, one business to the next, one military job to the other thing, they talk themselves out of it because they say, oh, that's not me. And an identity will absolutely keep you stuck in a trap. It'll put you in a prison cell, an invisible prison cell that you can break free of. Like, you have the keys to the prison cell. All you got to do is make a decision on who you want to be and then pursue that path. But your willpower is what forced you to grow the way that you needed to grow. You just said, I'm committed, I'm going to follow through.
Yeah. And I think, you know, going through that divorce, that transition, you know, everything was just hitting me all at once, you know, and then I got injured as well. So now I'm dealing with an injury, the divorce, and a new job. You know, all of that.
ACL injury.
Yeah, tore my ACL and my PCL.
Yeah, not just a freaking sprained ankle. Like, you like ripped your leg off.
Yeah. Yeah.
Fuck.
Well, I think I had about 2 months left to graduate. So, you know, the thing I struggled with there is that, you know, they wanted to send me back.
Wait, so that was, you're talking about Border Patrol?
Yeah.
Okay,
So
they want to send you back where?
Back to, you know, my station to get, you know, recover and everything. But it's part of that transition, right? You know, I packed what I could fit in my car. I had no home. I had nothing. Only what I could fit in my car.
Yeah.
And, you know, I had brought it up and I said, you know, we're going to send you back home. And I was like, what home? I don't have a home.
Yeah.
And, you know, it was just one of those things where I really had to find it in me, you know, get that David Goggins mentality, right?
Yeah.
And, you know, push myself every single day with that torn ACL and torn PCL because I essentially didn't have anything.
So you didn't go back. You didn't
No.
leave. You stayed there because
there.
you just told them, like, dude, I'm like living out of my car pretty much. Like,
Yeah.
I don't have anywhere to go. And what did they say?
So it was a battle at first.
Yeah.
You know, because I mean, there's some legality issues to it. Right?
Yeah, legality.
Right? Yeah. But ultimately, you know, they honored my decision, and you know, I'm very fortunate. You know, I had people backing me up. They knew my background. They knew what I did.
Okay.
And so they were just like, all right, yeah, this guy, if he says he can do it, he can do it.
But that was in the middle of Border Patrol selection or whatever.
Yeah, the academy. Yeah.
The academy. So you were basically torn ACL in the academy, and then they granted your approval to stay.
Yeah.
And then you stayed in the academy, or did you go to like a holding area?
No, I stayed at the academy, still going to class, still doing the PT, still doing everything.
Oh, fuck.
Yeah. So, and fortunately, you know, I was able to push through and still graduate, you know, with that ACL and torn PCL.
Bro, like, let's talk about this, because how many of you guys out there struggle with like getting yourself going and you don't really have any adversity in your life? A lot of people have a hard time showing up and doing the work when there's no adversity in their life, let alone, boom, freaking I'm out of my dream job, freaking divorced, worst injury of my life. And not only that is it the worst injury of my life, but I'm a damn athlete. So when I rip my ACL, it strips apart my identity even more. So now I feel like I'm not just at the bottom, but I'm like lower than the bottom, you know, and you're still showing up and doing the work. Where like, what was driving you to do the work, you know, to be disciplined, to be focused, to keep going and be relentless in your pursuit and have the resilience?
So the Ranger Creed.
Oh yeah? Hell yeah.
The Ranger Creed, man. And
yeah.
you know, just knowing where I came from, right? Knowing the people that I served with. I knew that it wasn't just about me, right? And I just had to continuously, you know, show up because I still wanted to live by that standard.
Why was living by the Ranger Creed and the Ranger standards and people you served with important to you?
Because when you're the best, right, it's not because you're the best, it's because the people around you are the best.
That's a freaking nugget right there. That's good.
And you show up not just for yourself, but you show up for them because they expect you to show up.
I totally agree with that. You know, I think, you know, a lot of times I tell people, man, like, motivation is going to make you get started on something. You're going to get motivated and want to do it. But like, what pulls you through is your why, right? And a lot of times your why is not wanting to let other people down. A high achiever does not want to let people down. Dude, I mean, I have yet to meet somebody that achieves at a very high level that just doesn't want to let everybody down around them. Would you agree with that?
Yeah.
Was that a big thing for you going through the academy? Like not letting people down, whether you were staying in contact with them or not?
Yeah, it wasn't even people that were around me. Like it was people that I was thinking about, you know, oh, I remember, you know, so-and-so, he did this, you know, I can do this. Or I remember, you know, not sleeping or hurting my knee on the jump and still doing that long walk. Like, I can do this.
Fuck.
Just one foot in front of the other.
100%. You guys see the power of getting around top people, man. Like when you're around top individuals, I'm going to misquote this, but basically what you said is like, when you perform at your best, it's not that you're the best, it's that the people around you made you your best. Right?
Yeah.
That's so good. And it's so true because you got like a lot of times in life, like people stay average because they're just around average motherfuckers, man. And you know, average people can't make you the best version of you. You have to make you the best version of you. So you have to get around people that are pushing the pace in all facets of life. And only then when you see those people moving, will you move at a faster pace, you know? It's very true. It's been true in my life for sure. So how long was the academy?
6 months.
So
So I think I was around month 4 is when I injured I tore my ACL and PCL.
Okay.
Yeah.
What was I mean, obviously you made it through the academy.
Yeah. I mean, the standards weren't that compared to what I've been through. Wasn't difficult at all.
Yeah, but you still had the freaking.
Yeah. The injury made it difficult, but
yeah.
I made a commitment to myself, that I was gonna graduate and I was gonna do whatever I could. I mean, there's plenty of nights that I didn't sleep, in pain all day long, but I still did what I had to do.
But you also didn't give yourself a way out. A lot of people give themselves way outs all the time. Like you literally said you packed up your car and like had no plan of like returning back. I have no idea how I'll get back. And a lot of people don't do that. They don't fully commit. They like before people fully commit, they'll try to chase a different plan. They'll reach some level of adversity, and instead of like making themselves better, they try to find a quote unquote better plan. Yeah. So it's like, oh, the border patrol, the academy's not working for me. That was plan 1. Let me just find a different plan. And then they go immediately a different way. Whereas like top people, they don't try to find a better plan. They make themselves better for the plan. Yeah. And I love that about what you did, man. Like, just burning the ships, not being a half-ass motherfucker, not being a part-time motherfucker, being an all-in. I'm betting on me and I'm going to figure this the hell out. Yeah. Yeah. Love that. What happened after? So then what year was that?
So that was going to be 2022.
Okay, so 2 years ago.
Yeah.
What happened between then and now?
So after that, I mean, I graduated, moved back down to Texas and started, the training program because you got the academy and then you have your field training program that you have to complete. And, that was another struggle in itself. And so there I am as a Border Patrol agent trying to complete my training still with that torn ACL and torn PCL because I still didn't have that job security. Yeah. And so I'm out there, doing my job, just pushing myself every day until I finally could get an opportunity to actually get it checked out and, figure out whether or not I needed surgery. So I actually didn't find out it was actually a torn ACL and torn PCL until I want to say March of 23. Yeah,
oh, okay.
So it was December of 22 when I injured it, and I didn't find out that it was actually torn until March. Just because if I would have went to the hospital, they would have been like, hey, it's torn, you're dropped.
Med drop, yeah. Dude, that happened to me at regiment. I tore my pec when I got down to the Bad Mothers. The first 2 months I was on the job or something like that. I did an obstacle course with my kid on, and I slipped off this top bar. It was 15 feet up or something like that. And I tried to catch myself. And as I caught myself, I ripped my pec, and I popped. I heard a noise. The whole thing swelled up from my elbow joint to my freaking nipple, and it was month 2 of being in the job, dude. And I was so pissed because I was I waited so long for this. Fuck. Yeah. And I knew that if anybody had found out, I'd be taken off the line, and that would be it. My door, my window for that opportunity would have closed, and I hid the shit too. And I remember I couldn't do airborne jumps for a while. We went to the field right after that, and I was doing live fire training on a torn pec, and I was bounding on it. It was just fuck. So dealing with that shit on a regular basis, it sucks, man.
And it sucks too because you know what you're capable of doing physically, and it just limits you so much. Yeah. And it kind of shuts you down.
100%.
And I got so frustrated that I wasn't one of the best performers there. But, I had to humble myself and, hey, this is what we're going to do. This is what we're capable of doing. We just need to pass. We just need to show up, just today. Just get today done.
Did anything crazy happen in whether in your, outside of the hardship, any close call moments, crazy moments in between your military service and law enforcement? Anything like stand out there where you're like, there was chaos happening, or I don't know, maybe a funny moment or something like that? Because it sounds pretty steady and still for between all of it. But anything, like any memories pop up for you thinking about standout moments from your time in the military to the academy?
No.
Yeah, nothing crazy?
Nah.
Any like close call moments where you're like, shit, you know, I either, whether it was an, I don't know, airborne operation or something like that? Because, dude, I freaking, when I was in the regiment, I landed in a damn blackberry bush one time on an airborne op, like right in the middle of the blackberry bush, bro, and I couldn't fucking move. It was like Velcro. I fell out of the plane, went to do my landing, and I was looking, and I looked clear. I look around, and I'm like, that looks soft, sweet, this is gonna be a nice landing. And then the wind blew me backwards. I couldn't see behind me, and as I landed, I landed in a giant blackberry bush, and I just stuck like Velcro.
Yeah, so you know what? Now that you mentioned that, you know, I did injure my knee, you know, in regiment, right? It was a jump in 2016. Yeah, we were talking about it earlier. So, you know, it's a funny moment, right? And it's something that I related back to when I did have that second knee injury at the academy. So it was a bad jump, you know, night jump, and I think all I remember is my chute opening up and then hit the ground right away. Starfish, rucksack, over the knee, hip, back, head, everything. And I'm just in pain. Could barely get up, could barely walk. And, you know, I was fairly new to regiment at that time, right? And I'm limping my way, you know, to the med van. And I remember, I think it was First Sergeant Hill at the time. Yeah. And he just rips into me. Yeah. And he was like, "You're the new guy, you know, this," and like, you know, going off on me, like, "You're going to do this." And so I was like, all right, okay, cool. And then the
training exercise, yeah.
Yeah. The combo chief comes over. He's like, "Hey, man, you have to do it." And I was like, okay, cool. They're like, "Go see the PJ." So I went to go see the PJ, and he was like, "All right, man, drop your pants." I was like, "What?" Drop them. Pulls out, you know, syringe. He's like, "Here you go. That's going to alleviate the pain for the next day. Here's some pills. You know, you're good." And
what was in the syringe? It was a fucking...
I can't remember what it was.
Some type of anti-inflammatory painkiller shit.
Yeah, anti-inflammatory painkiller, right? And I was like, man, what is this stuff? You know, totally new knee. Felt great. Did the whole entire movement. And however, the next day when or after we finished that, you know, that long walk, because it was a rod.
Yeah.
We did the training mission.
Yep.
And we got back. I went to sleep, woke up. I got up to use the restroom, and I just fell. I got up, fell. And I was like, what the hell? I look at my knee, and it's like 3 softballs. Just completely swollen, hurting, in pain. Yeah. You know, and that time it was a MCL meniscus, right?
Damn.
So whenever I was going through that knee injury at the academy, I was like, oh, it's probably just my MCL meniscus. I recovered. I did fine. You know, I could do this.
Yeah. Bro, I think it was that op where, so I was a Ranger PL. We jumped into the airfield, and it was on the base, and it was like we landed, and like, I mean, I don't know how many 1,000+ Rangers were jumping out, landing, and then we were gonna go do the remain over day, the movement to contact.
Yeah.
And one of our guys from the Bad Mothers missed the airfield on his jump, and he landed in the Burger King parking lot across the base. And I got the call on the radio after I got my comms all put together, and it was like, hey, 16 is 17, like, you know, we started talking and whatever, and it's like, we got a guy. Yeah, he's in the Burger King parking lot. Me and the freaking platoon sergeant were just like, what do we do with him? Like, you know, it's going to basically, in this situation, there was no way in hell he was going to be able to get back to the airfield in time for us to continue the op. You know what I mean? Like, he had to get transported. His chute was over there. It was a clusterfuck. Yeah. And it would have taken him hours to link up with us and get moving. We just had to cut him. Like, so we were like, well, have him go report to staff duty. He can go back to the base, but have him grab a burger on his way. You know what I mean? Have him grab a burger and head back to base, bro. Like, what else are you going to do? Like, So, yeah, that was a funny shit, man. But, okay, so bringing this back, man, yeah, a lot of knee issues and shit.
Shoot, a lot of injuries.
Yeah. So after How's the border patrol been for you?
It's been good.
How are you liking it?
I like it. Definitely a change of pace, right?
Yeah.
You know,
Any excitement?
Yeah, I mean,
Or is it kind of like,
you know, from what I can speak about, right?
Yeah.
You know, I'm not here representing, you know, the border patrol, right?
Yeah.
But it's
well, because I'm sure people are curious what the situation was like down there from your lens, not like what you believe in, your politics, and
Yeah.
the whole thing. But like, you know, obviously you went through why Biden was in office, you know, and there was a lot of shit going on with immigration and the border down there. So
I guess
like?
from what I can say is that it depends on the area,
Mm.
right, where you're working, and even by sector. The sectors, each sector is different, and each area within that sector is different. So traffic could be, you know, a lot of family units. From what's the proper term for it? Is a family unit, which you mainly see like on the news and stuff.
A family unit is basically an immigrant family like sneaking into the United States. Yeah.
Yes, not necessarily, you know, because they can come in. I mean, they come in illegally, but you know, they're able to seek like asylum or refuge.
Okay.
Here, and then there's like other traffic, right, where those are the, you know, the ones that are not family units. You know, they're trying to get in to this country illegally, whether it is to work or to find a better life, right? They all want, you know, ultimately to find a better life, right?
Yeah.
When I first started, it was fast paced, like it really was. I mean, obviously, agents who have worked prior to me, right, for years, you know, to them it's not fast paced, but for me, you know, the new guy coming in, I was like, all right, this is fast paced.
What does that mean? Like chasing people down? Like,
yeah,
like
group after group, right?
Yeah.
So they're crossing in different areas of your area of operation, right? Your AOR, right?
Yeah.
You get assigned an area. And I mean, sometimes you get 3, 4, 5 groups at the same time coming in.
It's like squirter control, like on an op. Like you're gonna
Yeah.
go and do a raid, and people are freaking taking off, and you're gonna go try to interdict.
Yep.
Exactly.
Yeah. I think one of the I guess the coolest things that I've learned is tracking. I've learned how to track, and that's been something that I've really, you know, found like high interest in.
Like on the
So,
ground,
yeah,
tracking
so
them, not
sign,
before they come
foot sign,
in, but
yeah.
yeah, exactly. Like
Yeah.
you would an animal or
Foot
something
sign,
like that.
branch, you know, you see mud
Yeah.
or droplets here. You look at the dew. Man, that's honestly been something that, you know, I found very, you know, exciting for me personally.
Yeah, dude, it's I, you know, and I can relate to that. So when I was a kid, I used to hunt animals like bears and deer with my dad, and so we would track animals. And then when I became a ranger, one of my first jobs was being a targeting officer. So I would track humans with aerial surveillance and like technology. And then like being on the ground, I didn't really have any situations where I was like hunting humans by following their footprints and shit like that. But I did go to the reconnaissance school, Arcelec.
Okay.
And so you learn how to cover your tracks and sneak around in the woods without being found, and like you're worried about that kind of thing. And so you're paying a lot of attention to the footprint that you're pushing into the brush and stuff, and trying to conceal that. But yeah, tracking humans is pretty exhilarating.
And I still got a lot to learn, right? Like I'm fairly fresh, but that's one of the things that's really stood out to me. And you know, funny moment, I was talking to one of the guys that was training me, and I was like, man, I wish I would have known this in the Army. Land nav would have been so much easier.
I know, dude. Sometimes the military does such a shitty job training you for that shit, you know?
I was like, I would have just followed people's tracks to the point.
100%. Damn, bro. Cool. So, you know, basically tracking people, you know, interdicting, trying to figure out what's going on with them legally, what they're doing, if there's anything nefarious. And so where in the line, I know you gained a bunch of weight and you started drinking a ton after the divorce and everything. When did that happen, and when did you clean it up?
So it started when I was going through those marital issues, right? And that's part of the reason why my performance, you know, started failing while I was at USASOC, right? That's when, you know, mentally I started to decline. And then when pretty much it was all said and done that we were going to get the divorce, that's when I started drinking a lot. And I found myself drinking because I wanted to shut my mind off. And then I realized that I wasn't shutting my mind off. I was actually amplifying it. And man, I just remembered spending so many nights, you know, alone, just with a bottle, you know, drinking, drowning myself, and just staring at the wall. And inside, you know, my mind is screaming. So that was one of the first self-sabotaging habits that I started doing. And then it was the overeating came right after. Like, I just started eating whatever I wanted, you know, not paying attention to my health, not going to the gym, not wanting to go to the gym, really. I just wanted to drink. And, you know, I'll be vulnerable here and say that I was looking for help. But I realized that the way that I was doing it, people were just thinking that it was cool. Like, oh, this guy's just drinking. He's having a good time. He's living his life. You know, and deep inside, I was just like, I need help. And I realized that I was going to have to help me. No one was coming to save me. Like, there'll be people with you, right? You know, guiding you, you know, telling you things. But nobody is with you 24/7. You are with you 24/7 in your mind all day long. And you need to find ways to shift your mindset. And, you know, we spoke earlier today, you know, about our conversations prior to me joining Conquer Academy. And I mentioned to you that pretty much half the time that I was speaking to you, I was drunk.
Yeah.
And, you know, whether if it was a quote you put or some message, something, and, you know, I was relating to it, you know, yeah, I did this, you know, yeah. And I knew I needed to find help, and I knew I needed to find help in order to help myself. And, you know, that's when, you know, I finally, you know, reached out to you with the injury, with the divorce, the transition, you know, everything just piled up. And, you know, we had that conversation about, you know, working with the Conquer Academy, you know, with the fitness mindset nutrition program. And I knew I needed it. And, you know, I'm very grateful for you for that, because it was a no-brainer for me, right? We served together, and I knew that you were exactly what I needed. You were going to understand. You were going to be able to help me and coach me the way that I needed to be coached. And I'll never forget it, and I'll always say this, like, whenever you said to me, hey, bro, you got fat. And I was just like, oh, man. He was like, you're like, he was like, I didn't recognize you. You got fat. Oh, man. Yeah. And, you know, that really stuck with me. And I was like, all right, okay, yeah. I was like, I get it. And then, you know, when I committed to the program and, you know, you told me, you asked me if I was drinking, you know, at that time, you know, I started weaning myself off, but I was still, you know, using it as a crutch, right? Like, it was still sabotaging me, yeah. Right? And you said you were pretty much like, stop fucking drinking. And I knew coming from you, it held a lot of weight, yeah. And it meant a lot. And so I made that commitment, and, you know, I haven't had a drink. I'm going on 9 months now sober.
Fuck, I love it, dude.
Yeah. Wow, and it's been the best thing for me, because it's been able to help me work on my mindset and really control my emotions, not just on, you know, going through the divorce or, like, you know, moving forward from all of that, right? But for everything in everyday life, like just dealing with people, yeah. Just what's the next thing I'm gonna do, right? What do I want to do next? Okay, why is this person talking to me like that? You know, I don't find myself being like, you know, I had a rough day at work, I'm gonna go have a drink, or, you know, so and so told me something, you know, let me just go burn it down, right? We're so used to burning it down, right? We have that, you know, high performance, high achieving mentality where we're just constantly, you know, pushing ourselves, burning ourselves down, you know, running on red. And then we're like, oh, like, hey, let's go have a drink. Let's go burn it down. You know, we earned it.
Fuck, 100%, dude. That like redlining is a skill, but it can lead to self-sabotage and just literally, like, for me it was almost suicide, like, you know. And I'm so glad that you chose to save yourself. My brother, you know, he's turned his life around too, just like I have as well, and we're both military. One of the things that he told me that I had said to him that really helped him with his life was that at the end of the day, he said, nobody's going to take better care of you than you.
Mm-hmm.
And I love that you found the way that you know, the path that you needed. And I'm just grateful that I was able to play a role in it, lend a helping hand, give you some tough love.
Yeah.
And you have to, like, I was telling I forget who I was saying this to, but like, you, with certain guys, dude, you, like, most men, you have to be stern and just direct, like, you have to be like, dude, stop fucking doing that. Not like, hey, tell me about all the reasons why you're doing it and let's go and explore all this.
Yeah.
Like, no, motherfucker, I'm slapping you in the head. Stop doing that. You're fat.
Yeah.
You know, that's how I need to be talked to.
Yeah, it's it, like I said, it was definitely what I needed.
Yeah. Well, you've done a hell of a job and you've transformed yourself. I mean, how much weight have you lost? And you're down to,
so when I started with you, I was around, December 31st of 23 is when I made the decision that I needed to change. I say I went to a funeral that day. I killed a part of me, and you know, I went to the funeral, you know, said my condolences to that person inside of me. And I made the commitment, you know, after my second knee surgery, I still had to get my second knee surgery. So they broke the surgeries up for my ACL, my PCL. But in January of 24, at the beginning of this year, you know, I had that second knee surgery, and then I had started with the carnivore diet because I heard so many great things about it. So I had dropped like 36 pounds with that, and then I started with you, you know, gained some muscle, still dropped some body fat. Yep. And then it's just been, you know, a journey, you know, where, you know, and mind you, during this time, like, I'm doing the fitness and the mindset nutrition program with you, going to rehab, you know, still dealing with the knee, not able to do the workouts fully, but, you know, I really want to highlight here the mindset coaching that you provided. That was the biggest thing that I was looking for and that I needed in my life. And, you know, being able to get on those coaching calls with you were something that I really looked forward to every single weekend, because I knew I was going to get some valuable information that I needed. And, you know, there's plenty of times where on that call I was like, dude, like, I love this because the universe is speaking to me, because this is exactly what I was thinking about, and you're speaking it to me, like,
tell me exactly what I needed to fucking hear, bro. Like, yeah. Well, it's collective consciousness, you know. We're all going through the same thing, just with different levels of awareness. And this is like a thing which we can talk a little bit more about. But when I coach, I really focus on drawing in the energy from what's around me. So I think about, what am I experiencing, and then I think about it from other people's perspective as if they are going through the same thing that I'm going through. And then I just assume that challenge is what everybody's going through. And then I speak to everybody from a position of overcoming it. And that helps me a lot with it's kind of like esoteric, I guess. But along the way, I mean, it's not that crazy, because I believe that the way that we're all connected is like a spider web, right? Like, one line is connected to another person. So you and I are connected. That's why we had past history, and that's why we're connected now. And social media just connected that line to each other. So nothing like all those serendipitous moments or all those synchronicities, like, it's all like divine, you know. It's all like pointing us in the same direction if we're willing to, like, play along.
It's the magnet effect, right?
Yeah. What do you go ahead?
So we're basically, in some way, shape, or form, I was attracting you to me, and you were attracting me to you.
100%.
And so we provided that magnet effect, where no matter what, you know, we're constantly, you know, attracting ourselves to each other. And then we finally made that connection, and it was just exactly what we both were looking for.
What have you learned? So you worked on yourself a ton. What have you learned about high performance? I know you have a program. You've been doing a lot of self-study on, I can't remember the name of your program that you jumped into, but can you talk a little bit about what you learned of healing yourself, getting off the drink, dropping over 40 pounds, like getting down to 11% body fat, and getting your life in order? Like, what have you learned? And share some of that wisdom.
Yeah. So I'll start with this. Love yourself. Love yourself no matter what, right? No matter what you're going through, no matter who you are at the moment, you are that person because in that moment in time, you need to be that person. But you have to love yourself enough to make the change. Because if you don't, right, I'll say this, like, I hated the person. I felt so weak. But I was so focused on that hate, so focused on that weakness that I didn't love myself enough to change. And forgiveness. You have to forgive yourself and you have to forgive others. Because at the end of the day, they only thought what they were doing was right. And you have to be willing to grow. And sometimes with growth comes sacrifice. Now, once you're willing to sacrifice, is up to the individual. Now, whether that is a temporary sacrifice or a permanent sacrifice, it's up to the individual. That.
How does a person go about loving themselves?
So, what I did was I had a lot of affirmations, right? You know, I didn't feel worthy. That was a big thing. Like, I didn't feel worthy of anything. You know, I felt like I lost everything and I wasn't worthy to obtain anything else. So, you know, I wrote a lot of affirmations and, you know, I am worthy every day in every way. I'm getting better and better. It was something that I would say to myself every morning, every night, despite everything that was going on around me, right? And focus on growing as an individual in your fitness and your mindset and your nutrition. So something that, you know, that I've, you know, realized is that fitness is the gateway drug to success. If you are fit, you know, and your mindset is good and you're eating healthy days, you see life in a whole different way. I think you're able to overcome a lot because you know that you challenge yourself in the gym. You have this nice, respectable body. You have this mindset. It's not like the average person. And, you know, you eat things, you put good whole foods in your body that provides you the nutrition and fuel that you need to go about your day. I think, you know, when all that's messed up, you know, you're groggy, there's no clarity, you don't have energy, you know, you feel like crap. I mean, you could be going through a lot and be fit and healthy, and you got a better chance of getting yourself out faster.
Yeah, I mean, food, drink, drugs, all these things are anchors in your life, and they cloud your vision. They don't allow the clarity to come through, and like people try to outwork their shitty habits, and like you're not gonna get where you want to go. And if some people maybe they think fitness is just the six pack. Fitness is not just a six pack. Fitness is dropping the things that are holding you back that you don't want to drop. You know, it's the freaking guy that's got the six pack and he's maybe doing a little bit a year, and then he's doing freaking he's doing drugs on the weekend. He's doing coke on the weekend, going to parties and raving and shit. That guy's a shit show. He's not fit.
Yes.
True fitness is removing the things that take away from your mental clarity, take away from the angers that are holding you back in your life. That's what I love.
Yeah, and I think there's, you know, the term, you know, an athletic alcoholic, right? Where, you know, you can perform and then, you know, you can go, you know, drink, blackout drunk, and, you know, you're still going to be able to perform physically.
Yeah.
But you're missing out on so much more.
Yeah, you're not even close to your potential. You're delusional about how good you think you are. Like, all that shit is fake. You're living in one big lie, you know?
And it catches up to you.
to where, you are burning it down, and, you get those, what they call the Sunday scaries, right?
Yeah.
You get that anxiety, like how, like you have all these problems, and then you go and you drink and you get blackout drunk, and you wake up and those problems are just amplified because of the effects that the alcohol is doing to you later. At a later date.
Yeah, you motherfuckers gotta like listen to this shit, because your Sunday scaries are not coming from your work. Your Sunday scaries are not coming from the stress that you're under. Your Sunday scaries are coming from your shitty habits. They're coming from Monday through Friday, every single night, catching a buzz or getting drunk so you can go to sleep, and then Saturday and Sunday escaping the whole thing and just like totally ignoring your problem, eating off the freaking rails, and then Sunday thinking about like compartmentalizing all of your problems and running away from them 6, 7 days a week, and then being faced with the fact that you got to go to work and actually perform. Like, your issue is coming from all your bad habits and not listening to yourself and all the inner turmoil you're creating Monday through Sunday, not the fact that you're going into work Monday morning.
Yeah.
Fuck you. More people need to hear that shit.
Yeah, no, definitely. And it's something that, I didn't realize, until I started working with you, and I started keeping track of how my body was responding and how my mindset was changing. And I realized, like, anxiety started to slowly go away. I realized, I was more upbeat about life and all the possibilities and opportunities that were right there in front of me the whole time. And I think what people need to understand too is that the resources are out there. They're everywhere, all over social media.
Can't find what you're looking like.
I was looking for it, you can't find it. You scroll on your phone all day long, and they're literally right there speaking to you. And yet, you just hit the like button.
That is so fucking true, man. All right, we gotta start wrapping this up, but I wanna make sure I get a nugget or two before we do. So, if I'm a person going through a difficult time, divorce, bad habits, like, hey, I gotta learn how to love myself, and the way I learn to love myself is by stripping away all the things that are making me hate myself. That's simple one. I need to do some affirmations, positive self-talk, get myself mentally right, start taking action on the things that I'm drawn to, whatever I'm magnetized towards, take action towards those things, yeah? And then what other pieces of wisdom do you have for somebody that really wants to transform and change their life? Anything come to mind?
Yeah, so I'll highlight, meditation, visualization, and breath work. Those 3 things are very powerful. I know for some people, it might sound like, cliche or like dumb, but no, it actually works. And don't chase perfection, because you're not going to be perfect. You're going to have a little bit of slip-ups. But as you continue to improve, as you continue to better yourself, those slip-ups are going to slowly start going away. And it should always be about the pursuit of human excellence in all areas of your life.
I love that. I love that. I love the idea of choosing excellence, because everything in your life goes up to choose excellence. So tell us about your program. What are you offering now? Like, you're helping people out transform, and you're helping them with mindset and everything. Tell us about that.
Yeah. So when it comes to my program, right, working with you, I've always had a passion for fitness, right? And I decided to get some certifications and stuff, and launch, my online coaching business. So what I noticed, throughout my process, going through therapy and stuff, I realized that yes, therapy is good, right? I'm not saying do not go to therapy, get the help you need to get, right? But there's other ways that you can tackle your problems. There are ways that you can tackle your issues, and fitness and nutrition is one of those. And I think, we spoke about this plenty of times, where when you focus on your mind and your body and your spirit, everything else improves in your life. And you start to see that those problems that you were dealing with aren't problems. They were small in comparison to what you thought they were.
Yeah. We suffer more in imagination than reality. Seneca.
So ultimately, I just want to help people realize that when you become fit and healthy,
you have so many more opportunities than that. And everyone should get a coach. And business, leadership, business, like, we need to be coached.
And I was just talking to one of my one-on-ones, doing around 8 figures a year, and we were talking about how, when you drop the drink, you fix, maybe you're on gear or doing drugs or something like that, you start stripping all those things that are holding back. That's like you just graduated from standing on quicksand or being in sludge to standing on the road. You got your foundation built, and then when you get yourself a mentor or coach, that's like guardrails. Now all of a sudden you have left and right limits and you know where to go. And high performers, they don't want to waste time looking where they don't need to go. They want to focus on the direction that they need to move. And this person I was talking to, we were like, mentorship and coaching is not even like an option. It's a necessity if you really want to achieve, you really want to win, and especially at a certain level,
Yeah, and you need those standards and you need that accountability, right? Yes, we are accountable to ourselves, but when you have somebody else who's also helping you be accountable, it's so much more power.
Well, you increase your odds of success from like something like it's like in the 40 to 60% to 80% when you have somebody that you're talking to on a regular basis on a scheduled time to achieve your goals. It's close to those numbers. Cool. So what else do you want to hit them with before we close it up? What other messages do you have now?
Yeah, so I guess I'll end with this. We started with it, we'll end with it. Big he say, big he. He conquers who conquers himself.
Hell yeah. That is so true, man. You want to get shit done, you want a life upgrade, you want a better business, you want a better life, you want a better girl, you want a better guy, whatever it is, you conquer yourself, you conquer all. Where can they find you and stay connected with you? Where are you active the most?
Yeah, so Instagram, it's going to be j.hernandez_QH.
And you guys can go to the link in the bio for that. We'll spell it out there for you guys. But Gilberto, appreciate you coming on, drop some gems, and I think you really inspired somebody to pick themselves up when they've fallen. I think you've laid out a step-by-step process that they can follow, if they have the courage to actually put it into action. And there's no way that somebody that's going through a difficult time right now can't find their way forward after listening to this. So thanks so much for coming on it.
Yeah, thank you. I really appreciate this.
Guys, you guys know the deal. If you like the show, if you enjoy it, if you laugh, if you learn, if you walk up and inspire, all that we ask is share with a friend. That means you can join your social media and you can text it to somebody, go on Facebook, and just share with them if you enjoyed the show, you found it useful. Maybe even send it to that friend as you're thinking about going through a hard time. Let's help them out and bring each other up. Until next time, be the leader.
It's in you. You possess the power. Just go hard. I need some motivation. Every day I try a little harder, but my dedication. Keep my head way, way above the water. Crowding myself when I yell at the wall. Begging to run, but I needed to crawl. I see the finish line up ahead, trying to get traction from all of this tread. I am a king, I am a queen. I am more than the people can see. I am strong when I'm needing to be. Vulnerability's nothing to me. You can try, but I'm unshakable. My successes is never debatable. I'm chameleon, I'm so interchangeable. Here's to you and all that you are capable.
You gotta go hard.